If I give you one message to hold in your hearts today, it's this: never, ever give up. There'll be times in your life you'll want to quit, you'll want to go home.
You learn the rewards of hard work and perseverance. Never, ever give up, never quit. Persevere, never, ever quit.
Carry yourself with dignity and pride. Demand the best from yourself and be totally unafraid to challenge entrenched interests and failed power structures. And always have the courage to be yourself. Most importantly, you have to do what you love. You have to do what you love. I've seen so many people, they're forced through lots of reasons to go down a path that leads them to something that they don't love, that they don't enjoy. You have to do what you love, or you most likely won't be very successful at it. And I've seen so many instances where people with great talent went into things that they didn't love, and they failed.
You can do anything. You can be anything you want to be. But in order to succeed, you must find out what you love to do. You have to find your passion, no matter what they tell you.
Following your convictions means you must be willing to face criticism from those who lack the same courage to do what is right. I would always say to people, and I'd see people, and I'd say, you gotta love what you do. Because you know, if you love what you do, you work harder. But when you do something that you love, you'll never fail. What you're going to do is give it a shot again and again and again. You're ultimately going to be successful. And remember this, you're not working. I love taking things and fixing, taking things and building. I love building.
I really love what I do, and I'm good at it. And I mean, we're doing things all over the world, and there's such incredible projects.
Most of my business is the building of things, and I get great artistic pride out of a great building like Trump Tower.
I like it because you can touch it, you can feel it. You know, it's there. I own a building. I own Trump Tower on 57th Street. Real estate, from the standpoint of tax benefits, has been great. But I love the real estate business. I love the creativity of real estate. And I think I always will. Even as president, I'd say, boy, that's a great site for a building. I'll look at something, and that's what it was in my blood from the time I'm very young. My father built in Brooklyn and Queens, the boroughs. I was no different when I was 20 years old, believe me. I wanted to be successful. I wanted to get out of Brooklyn. I said, Pop, I love you, but I want to get out of Brooklyn. I love Brooklyn, but I want to get out. Sometimes in life, to be successful, oftentimes, most of the time, you have to follow your instincts. You have to follow your gut. You have to. So what I do is I go by my instinct. I go by my gut. If I want to do something, I do it. If I don't want to do something, I don't do it. I loved the creative process of building. I enjoy doing it. If I didn't enjoy it, you couldn't do it. I mean, it would be physically impossible to do it. And I'd see those big buildings, those big skyscrapers in Manhattan. I said, Pop, that's what I want to do. That's what I wanted to do.
I don't think that New York is that much different from other places. What I do think is that there's a greater energy in New York. There's a greater verve or a greater drive maybe in New York than most other places, and really than any other place I've seen. But I don't think that business itself is much different in New York than it would be anywhere else. Well, I think that business in New York tends to be tougher maybe than other places, but I'm not so sure that's true. The real estate business in New York is an amazing business. It's a great business. My father was a builder in Brooklyn and Queens. He built moderate income housing and some low income housing. He was really good at what he did. He was a real professional. And I learned a lot just sitting at his knee, you know, listening to him from the time I grew up. And I just learned a lot about negotiating. I learned a lot about building.
The real estate business is basically an old-fashioned business. It's get the best location, get the best building, make sure you manage it properly, get great tenants. You know, it's never going to change. Now, it can be computerized, and we do all sorts of things environmentally, and we save money on oil, and we save money on this and that, and we fight certain things that we should fight. So we have apartment buildings, and I walked to my father's desk in Brooklyn. This is a long time. I was young. I used to love going to Sunday school. People don't know this about Trump. They think, oh, Trump, you know, Trump.
But the truth is, I went to Sunday school, and I loved going to Sunday school. And I did for years.
And he'd build single-family housing, whatever he built. But he'd save the nails and the sawdust and the chips of wood, and he'd take them and sell them. I mean, it's like extreme, but he was very extreme. I'd say, Pop, is it really worth it? He said, yeah, it's worth it. That's the way you make money. And to a certain extent, you know, it's not penny wise. You got to save the pennies. You got to be, that's a great thinking.
My father was... worker, and he loved to work. He'd work on Saturdays, he'd work on Sundays. He just liked it. He'd go to church, but after church he'd go and work. I have a lot of friends, they take vacations for 6 weeks and 8 weeks and 3 months, and they're never happy. So I watched my father, so I like to work. He just loved it, and I think more than anything else, not because of what he taught me lots of different things, but I watched him be a happy man and work until he was like literally 93. He was 93 years old when he died. And he built, you know, some really good stuff. He built some jobs out in Brooklyn and Queens, out in the boroughs of New York, for low and moderate income people. And, you know, he did a really good job at what he did.
I still think ultimately it's about quality. You've got to do quality work. And to me, that's more important than the brand. The public is very smart. They'll give it a good, solid look, and maybe that's the advantage I have over anybody else. But in the end, it's about quality. You have to give them the product. And I feel strongly about that. Branding is, you know, a very interesting thing, but I said today, it's, to me, more about the quality of what I do. I build great buildings, and I believe those buildings really speak for themselves. And you can't fool the public by putting the name Trump on a building, and it's not a great building. When I was riding very high in the 80s, because I was a big darling of the 80s, there was an article in one of the major business magazines, everything he touches turns to gold. And I believed it. I was very young. And I did lose focus. I believe, because I always made money in down markets. I've always done the best in down markets. When I went through tough times, I learned a lot. First of all, I learned a lot about myself. I learned I could take it. Because I had friends that went through tough times, and some committed suicide. Some just went into a shell. Some went home and said, Mama, don't let me out in the real world again. So what you do is you learn about yourself a lot. So when you go through tough periods, you want to get through it, you want to get done. But think about it as a learning experience. I think, you know, experience is just a wonderful thing. Learning from experience is a wonderful thing. If you can learn from other people's experience, that's even better though. If you see other people making mistakes, learn from it. You don't have to make those mistakes yourself. I've gone to school. I went to the Wharton School of Finance, which I consider the best school, best business school. And in the class, I had lots of people. And it's sort of interesting because I've been able to watch a whole career now. So, I mean, I see a lot of qualities. I've watched it over a period of a lifetime. The people that have the energy, the people that have the drive, and the people that don't stop, that don't quit, those are the people that really succeed. A lot of people don't have the ability to handle pressure. And I say you have to learn that about yourself, because I really believe that to a large extent is an innate ability.
Yeah.
You have to learn that about yourself, because if you're going to be an entrepreneur, if you're going to be very successful, you're going to have ups, you're going to have downs, you're going to make mistakes. I get paid a lot of money to make speeches, and I give the money to charities, and I'm happy about it and all this. But one of the words I've added over the last couple of years was pressure. And people that can handle pressure can be entrepreneurs, can be successful. Now, I have some friends that are really, really smart, but they can't handle pressure. In which case, they should work for somebody, do great, and have a good life. There's nothing wrong with it.